Hey guys, it's Lisa. So I am going to show you guys how to do the check your gauge in general, but especially if you're doing the crochet along that we're starting in January. So in the pattern, it says to, or I'm sorry, it says that in a 4 by 4 inch square, there should be 10 rows and 13 half double crochets, meaning 13 half double crochet stitches. So what I did is instead of crocheting 13 stitches exactly, I always add 5 to each dimension. So I crocheted 18 half double crochets. So I started by chaining 19, and then in the second chain from the hook, and then in each one across, I crocheted a half double crochet. So that is a total of 18. And then I did a total of 15 rows instead of 10. The reason that I did that is because here's the thing with swatches and gauges, there's mixed opinions about it. Some people say, like for example, since the pattern said to do 13 half double crochets in 10 rows, that you should do that exactly and then measure it. And the typical measurement for any gauge or swatch is 4 by 4 inches. And then other people say to make a bigger swatch, which is what I normally do, and then measure it from there. So again, I have 15 rows, and you can count them. You can probably see it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So like where the raised bumps are, that's a row. So there's 15 rows, and again, I have 18 stitches in each row, but the gauge on this pattern says 10 rows with 13 stitches in each row. So I have this ruler, like square ruler thing, that's made specifically for this. I'm going to put it in the description. I'll put the link in the description. I got it on Amazon. I think it was like, I don't know, $7, $8, something like that. So it's cheap. But for those of you that don't have that, I have a regular tape ruler or tape measure. So I'll show you how to do that too. So there's like a little bit of a, I guess it's not even really an issue. So I'm just going to show you guys. So, I always make mine bigger. I don't like to make them the exact size because it can be like tricky to measure. And then I don't know. That's just the way that I prefer to do it. Is like I said, I add 5 to whatever it says in each direction. So it said 10 rows, I did 15, and it said 13 stitches, I did 18. So what this does is, because most gauges will say X amount of stitches by X amount of rows in a 4 by 4 inch square, that's why they make this tool this way. So you take it if you're using this, and again, this is why I have the extra rows. So you want to start at the very beginning of one of your rows, okay? So if I set it down like that, now this yarn is like super 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 soft, so it might not line up like perfectly, but you guys will see if I lay it right there. So I'm at the very, very, very end of this last row. You can probably see the stitches right there. You want it like right where the stitches go in. And I count, okay? So again, this is 4 by 4 inches. So this is what it says in the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It fits exactly. I have exactly 10 rows in that 4 inches right there. And that's what the pattern says. Now, here's where it's a little bit tricky. What you want to do the same exact thing when you measure it for your stitches. So you want to put the ruler, I don't recommend ever starting exactly on the end. So I move in. I'm gonna start on this stitch right here. So it's 1, 2, 3 stitches in. And it doesn't really matter. Okay, so you just want to line it up like that. Again, right now what I'm doing, since I already did the roses, I'm only counting the stitches. So if this is the very beginning of one of my stitches, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And it says 13 stitches by 10 rows, and I'm ending up with one extra stitch. So I posted in a bunch of groups, and the general consensus is that it's not that big of a deal because it is so close. And I'm also stuck between whether or not I want to make, or whether I want to make an extra small or a small of this hoodie. So it, for me, like one stitch, it doesn't really matter. But again, you want to do this with the recommended hook size in the pattern, which if you're doing the Hawthorne hoodie crochet along, it's a 5mm hook, so an H, I believe. And the recommended yarn is Let's Get Cozy Chanel Appeal. Chenille, I don't even know how to say it. By Lion Brand. So that's what I'm using, is that yarn in I think it's called Peach Whip is the color. So again, if you don't have this tool, that's fine. You don't need it. You can do the same exact thing. And I already measured it and I'm still coming up with the same result. So what you want to do is you can take a ruler or a tape measure or whatever, and you want to do exactly what I just did, which is start at the very beginning or whatever of one of your rows. Okay, so I have it starting right here at 0. There's that, this is the top of this row where my thumb is. Okay, and we're going to count down to 4 inches. So this, the second to the last row. So again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did I just count that wrong? Hold on. I did, I think. 1 second. Oh, yeah. See, I accidentally counted the 0. I apologize. So you start obviously from the 0. Now my thumb's on the 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I'm throwing myself off. I'm sorry. I'm going to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay. And it ends, that's exactly 10 rows right there at the 4-inch line. So one more time, starting at 0, make sure you don't start from like the very tip. You want to start at 0. And then you will count down to the 4-inch line like I just did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I do have exactly 10 rows like the pattern says that I should in those 4 inches. Now, if I turn it, and again, you can pick any stitch to start out, but you want to start at like the very beginning of the stitch. So I'm just going to put it, the 0 again, right there. And okay, so see now it looks like that 4-inch line is like in the middle of this stitch. So I'm going to count up to this stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm getting 14 stitches. So you want to try and get your gauge as close as you possibly can to matching that. But because I'm getting exactly 10 rows, if I lower my hook size to try and get, well, I wouldn't want to lower the hook size because then I'm going to have more stitches. So the lower the hook, the more stitches, the lower the hook size, the more stitches you get. The bigger the hook size, the less stitches you get. But also, the lower the hook size, the more rows, the bigger the hook size, the less rows. So since I already have 10 and it's only off by like 1 stitch, I'm just gonna let it go. And again, I can't make up my mind between do I want to make an extra small or a small. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the extra small pattern because there's that one little extra stitch in there. If you guys are going to do the crochet along, you absolutely have to check your gauge if you want it to fit to the measurements that it says that it's going to fit. If you don't care, then that's fine. But especially if you're not using the yarn that's recommended with the pattern, definitely check it. So like in a perfect world, the H size hook, the 5mm hook with this yarn, which is the exact yarn that's recommended with the pattern, would fit perfectly 10 rows by exactly 13 inches in a 4x4 inch square. I didn't get that lucky. Now, everybody's tension is different. Everybody crochets differently. So just because I did this with a 5mm hook and the exact yarn does not mean that it's going to be the same for you. So again, absolutely bring out one of your balls of yarn and do this before we start. I would not recommend, like, I did not cut the swatch off because I'm just going to undo it. I can actually do that while I'm finishing up talking right now. Sorry about that. Because if I cut it, it's just going to be an unnecessary join that I have to make while I'm in the middle of making the sweater. And there's already 6 balls of yarn for this, so I'm going to have to join that anyway. So I'm going to just take my swatch apart. But now you guys know what you have to do to measure your own. And again, it doesn't matter if you have... Why is this getting stuck? Sorry, one second. Okay. It doesn't matter if you guys also have the exact same type of yarn and a 5mm hook. Everybody's tension and the way that everybody crochets is different. So absolutely you need to do this if you want it to come out in the size that you're going with. Whether it's a small all the way up to the 5XL, if you want it to fit accordingly, your gauge needs to match. So again, it can be a little bit finicky because as you guys just saw, I have like an extra stitch for whatever reason, but because I'm hovering between an extra small and a small anyway, I'm just going to go with it. But you want to try and get it as close as you can. If it doesn't match, if you end up with, let's say, 11 rows and 15 stitches, then in that case, I got to make sure I get this right. If you ended up with more rows and more stitches, then you're going to want to increase your hook size by like 0.25 and make another swatch. I know it's annoying and time consuming, but when you're making things that you can wear, you have to check it if you care about it fitting. If you don't, then that's fine. But if you want to wear it when you're done, you definitely should check it. If you end up with, let's say, 8 rows and, I don't know, 11 stitches, then in that case, you would need to go down a hook size until you get it, I guess I'm going to say, as close as you possibly can to match in the gauge, because mine does not match exactly. I did message the owner the designer. Well, yeah, she is the owner. So the owner/designer of the pattern on Instagram, because she did give me permission to do the crochet along. And I told her what happened. I was like, I did my swatch. I sent her a picture of it. And I asked her if, in her opinion, it matters too much. So I will let you guys know what she said. But I've been promising to do this video for you guys. And I'm getting so many different answers on whether or not I should change it, that I'm just, again, because I'm stuck between an extra small and a small anyway, I'm just going to go with it. That's my personal preference. But some other people are saying that you're supposed to cut the yarn and wash your swatch, which I didn't even think about. Honestly, I didn't really take gauges seriously as long as I've been crocheting for up until now, just because everything that I made for the most part fit. But it really is, it's a good practice, and it's something that you guys should get used to doing. So I will let you guys know what the designer said, but in my case, I really think I am just going to stick with the recommended hook because it's so close, and there's exactly 10 rows and 1 extra stitch, which I really don't think is going to make or break between either side. So there's the video. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to let me know. Again, I will post the link to this ruler in the description box, so if you guys want to buy it, you can, but you're totally fine with, like I said, a regular ruler or tape measure, anything that measures in inches. But now you guys know how to do it, so good luck. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching. Bye.